Alright, so I've been playing this for what feels like just about half a year, and yeah, let's talk a little bit about where I am in this project and what I've got left. It plays. I played it at a show the other day, and it makes sound. The paint job? Let's see. I really like how the translucent cream came out, but the burst into I wanted to go from translucent to cream, and then kind of burst into green and then aqua. And I feel like it just, maybe I need to do another layer of the green and the aqua and the burst to kind of fade into that. But yeah, in the paint video you saw, if you watched that, instead of going for the automotive sort of high sheen paint job, I decided to go for more of a rustic linseed oil paint job, which is so I used the paints that I've been using to paint my house, like my window frames and all that. And so I had a good feeling for the paints. I knew if I watered down the first layer, that it would be somewhat translucent, and it looks really cool in person when you look up close at this. But yeah, reason I went for the more rustic sort of linseed oil paint job is, it's a pine body. It's not gonna ever be totally smooth. I sanded it a bunch, but there's always gonna be blemishes just kind of built into the wood, and it's gonna really easily get more blemishes just because it's a soft wood. Even though it's got really dense growth rings, it's gonna get bangs. And so yeah, I like this old-timey paint job, old-timey paint on here. So yeah, that's one thing I got left. I'm happy with that. I think in the other video I talked about just kind of my experiment with the pine tar on the neck and how that didn't really work. One interesting thing is this thing was super loud in the test videos while you see me while I'm building it. Before I started routing anything out, I just, the first thing I did was strap the neck on, and how does it play? And it projected, but it was really mid-rangey. It was way different than any other electric guitar I have. And then at some point in the process, I also put linseed oil and pine tar on the fretboard. And I think that got on the strings a bit, and I probably started playing before that totally absorbed and cured. And then at the same time I routed out for the pickups and the cavities, and so all of a sudden it got less loud when played acoustically, unplugged in, but it got deeper. It doesn't have that really mid-rangey projection anymore. And at the same time I honed the neck pocket a little bit better. So I have no idea which of those three variables did it, but now it just sounds like a normal electric guitar unplugged. It's not very loud, but it sounds balanced. The neck is total rubbish. This was a $50 neck from China, and it's given me nothing but grief. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's terrible. It plays, but first I was just getting a lot of buzz right here, so I took these frets down, and then this part's high now, and so it's well, pick a side. And if I set the truss rod so that the treble side is straight, then there's quite a bit of bow on the low string side. So it seems there's no way to get this neck straight, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try with a jig, just clamp the body down and put things that put pressure that simulate the pressure that the strings would put it on, and I'm gonna rip these frets off, re-radius it, just get the fretboard totally straight. I think I'm gonna go for a vintage Fender, a 7.5 radius, just for kicks. I played one of those the other day. I think I like it a bunch. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to fix this neck somewhat. It does feel like it's a bit sensitive to humidity changes. So like it's straight for a while, and then humidity hits, and then it's not just that I have to adjust the truss rod, but like different areas will be problem areas, like the warp changes with humidity. And if that's the case, this neck is just hopeless. But we'll see. We'll see if the refret will solve it or not. It's going to be a learning process. All this is a learning process, so it won't be a waste, even if it doesn't work. So that's kind of been my approach. I decided, like, once I got it playing and got sound out of it, that I would kind of slow down and just kind of start playing it for a while and just kind of get feedback from the guitar, like what needs to be done, what I like, what I don't like. It's my first time building a guitar, so I'm not pretending I went into this knowing how I wanted it to turn out. I had some ideas, but then everything gets flipped on its head. First show, it was rocking out. Hit that, muted myself. I realized this system of pickup selector has that flaw. You can accidentally mute yourself if you get too into it, and I don't know if that's something I'll just like get used to being careful to not hit, or if I'll just put a normal pickup selector on instead of these, and then use these for something else, which I'll mention in a bit, my ideas for what I want to do. But yeah, that was no good. These pickups, these are Fender Ventera 50s Strat pickups. I wanted Strat pickups. I wanted to just go as close as I could to Dick Dale, who played a 59 Stratocaster. But I was really surprised when I put these in. They were so thin sounding. It was just ice picky, harsh, crazy. And the neck pickup sounded like a middle pickup, which sounded cool. The middle pickup sounded more like a bridge pickup, and the bridge pickup was just unusable, just in the amount of treble. And then I realized that these plates I got, these Jaguar control plates, had Jaguar style 1 meg pots in them, and the Stratocaster pickups are designed for 250K, which is quite a bit of a difference. So as soon as I put in 250K pots for the volume and the tone, it makes a huge difference. These are now quite a bit more useful. But I really like the neck tone. That was even kind of cooler with the less load on it, because it sounded so bright. It was cool to have like a neck pickup that was so bright. Sounded really cool. The bridge, it sounds great on the low E string here. But on the high E string, it's a bit sharp. And that's kind of a problem with the Stratocaster style guitars, is often the high strings are just really sharp and biting. So that is something I've been thinking about. I have another set of pickups that aren't like specially 50s wound, so I want to try those out and see if that kind of evens it out. But yeah, that tremolo picking on the high string here is just not really a usable tone. On the neck, I don't know, there's something just harsh about it the whole time. This is a 13 gauge, so I'm gonna step that up. I just got a bunch of 16s, so I'm gonna switch to 16 gauge on the high. So that should help just kind of thicken up the tone on it a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna try I've got just some cheap regular wound Stratocaster pickups. So So I'm going to just do a comparison. That's my plan, to do a comparison and see if that kind of is more the sound I need for the high string to make this usable. But actually another idea I have is to take those cheaper Stratocaster style pickups and just kind of take it apart and use the parts in it to make my own pickup that has wider pulse spacing, so that I'm able to put it on more of a slant, so that I'll still get like that treble on the low string, but then I'll just get even more body on the high string without having to switch pickups when I switch to the high strings. So I think that will work in theory really nice for like Digdale style, like tremolo picked surf guitar. Because, and then I'm thinking if I have like an underwound neck pickup like this one is, it kind of fills the purpose of the bridge, the middle pickup. It has kind of a middle pickup sound to it already. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'd be fine on this guitar just having two pickups, one with more of a slant, and then kind of the underwound one in the, maybe move it a little closer to the middle, and then I'll get that the kind of the tonal range that I want for the type of surf stuff I'm going to be playing. And another thing I really like is I really like the option of having these two on. I don't really, never been a fan of the Stratocaster middle bridge or middle neck. Like, it's the Jaguar Jazzmaster Telecaster style of having, bridge and neck together. That kind of is more interesting to me. So I want that, and then I want, the way I have this wired right now is that everything with the bridge is in series. So if I put this, or the bridge is in series with the other ones, so I can have these two in series or these two in series, which is kind of, it gives a thicker... And then I can get that thinner sound with these two in parallel or whatever, but it'd be cooler to just have the two outer ones and then be able to choose whether they're in series or parallel with each other, and you get that whole range of, you can get the deeper, thicker sound, or even the brighter, janglier sound, just depending on if it's series parallel. And that's not a complicated mod. And so one thing that I'm also thinking, if I'm winding my own pickups, using just kind of scrapping the pickups I bought to wind my own, I've had this idea for a while so there's pickups that are called coil tapped pickups, which is just wound like, I guess you could say it's wound like a hot pickup, but somewhere in the middle it's tapped out, so that you can either have you can select whether you have the full coil or just a part of it, and so you can have like an underwound and an overwound coil sound from one pickup. And so what the overwind or the underwind does is it moves the resonant frequency. Like an underwound pickup will have a more pronounced resonance in the high frequency, and it's at a higher frequency. So and then the more winds you have, it moves it more to the mid range. It moves it lower, and I think, as I understand it, it lowers the amount of resonance on that resonance where the cutoff frequency is. So my idea is to have a similar thing. You have the normal coil that goes narrow and deep like a Stratocaster, and gives you good Stratocaster style tones. Then on the second coil, you'd have a second coil that you can activate, which would be like a Jazzmaster one, where it's not deep but it's really wide, and so that would changes just the area of the string that it's picking up. You have the narrow one for a lot of clarity, and then on the wider one, there's certain frequency nodes where the string will be going in over half of it and then down or out on the other half over the same pickup, and that won't get picked up at all because it'll be just the phase will be canceling itself out. It'll be going in and out over this pickup within the region of the magnetic field of that pickup. So what happens is, irrespective of just the pickup's innate frequency response, electronic frequency response due to the capacitance and all that, you'll have just certain frequencies that just don't get picked up because of the location of the pickup and how wide it is, and so it'll emphasize the lower tones. And so my thought is, for example, is you could still get like a nice bridge tone, but get it sounding deeper. And so if I wanted to get the normal Stratocaster sound on the low string and then get like a thicker sound on the high string, it would just be a flip of a switch and it would be the same pickup, but you would just be getting a different tone out of that same pickup. And I haven't actually seen that. I've seen the coil tap ones, and then there's coil split humbuckers, which is a totally similar concept, but that's just two pickups basically, and then you can just split them, use them individually instead of together, canceling the hum. So this is the first that's kind of similar, is that because with the humbucker you're also it's a coil beside a coil next to a coil, so it changes the, oh my god, a bird just flew at the window. So that changes the I guess physical dimensions of the sort of the magnetic field or whatever, and how it picks it up. But in my idea, there's the same pole pieces but just two different coils, and then maybe there's a section coil that's common to both of them, that's always on, and then you can choose which one you want. So I'm kind of rambling about that, but that's an idea I've had for a while, and I'm kind of excited if I'm going to be experimenting, making my own pickup anyways. That will be a cool experiment to see if that turns out all right, if that's usable, and what that sounds like. And yeah, so another reason I don't really like these pickups is just the footprint. I've probably got like 3 millimeters away from the string, which according to the specs you're supposed to have like 2 millimeters. So it's supposed to be even closer, but like the way I pick it, I kind of hit the pickup first, and it's just kind of tripping me up, like on the low E string. On all the other ones, it's not an issue, but on the low one, it's just I kind of hit the pickup first, and I really don't like it. So I think if I had a wider pickup, it wouldn't be exactly at that spot where I'm kind of hitting it first, and it's like a dun dun. That just kind of throws off my whole rhythm. Because this was really nice to play before I put the pickups in, and then I've been a little bit frustrated ever since I did put them in. It's just a little harder to play, and that's part of the reason. Part of the reason is just the neck has been unpredictable with humidity changes. It just kind of changes a lot, not just the amount of bow, but like the way it warps. So there's a lot left to do on this guitar. Another thing that I'm kind of excited about is as soon as I saw just how everything was turning out, how it's all looking with the just kind of hand carved curves you guys saw in the. If you watch that video, I carved like this curve here with the kitchen knife, this one here as well, and so it's got this really sort of round over feel, carved by hand. And so I got one of these. It's like a Mosrite style vibrato. So it's got more of a organic, curvy look to it, and this guitar to me just really wants this style, not this super angular one. Plus, this was originally closer, and the bridge was originally higher, but then because because of the roller bar, I was getting some serious issues with the brake angle being too steep, and so whenever I would use the vibrato, it would just bind and I wouldn't go back into tune. And so by countersinking this bridge and moving this back, I don't have that issue anymore, but it is kind of an awkward position for the Bigsby. So I guess what I'll be doing now is I'll be filling these holes and drilling new ones, because this thing comes with another bridge that's actually a bit higher and has a wider string spacing. Has like a more of a Fender Stratocaster style wider string spacing, which I think will be nice for the surf stuff. So to compensate for that, instead of just using a shim, I think I'll just sand the neck pocket and just get a new angle on it, so it'll match the new bridge height for the new bridge I'm getting. And one of the reasons I countersunk this was because with the Stratocaster pickups, you're just limited on how high you can put them, because if they're supposed to go under the pickguard. But if I'm making my own pickups, I can create my own mounting system that doesn't depend on that. I can make them so I can mount them as high as I need. So that won't be an issue if I go that route. So these are all the things I'm planning on doing. So subscribe to my channel and subscribe to my channel to keep up on how the developments go on this thing.